Now, what I like to do, I move really freely when I'm doing this work, so I let the dog's movement determine where I go. And basically, I'm always doing opposites. So wherever he wants to go, I'm going to go the opposite to get him to pay attention to me. When I'm working with a human, and I'm kind of teaching these skills, I'll start with the simplest action, which is just a straight line back and forth. Okay, but for me, I'm going to be moving all over the place and using a lot of pressure and release to communicate with him and teach him through the leash. So what I want to do is just catch him not paying attention to me. And what you really want to watch is me being a part of the release of pressure, even if it's subtle. Even if the leash barely tightens, I still want to be part of it. Now, if he's going to throw his head like that, there's really, I can't make it any more obvious than that, right? So I didn't really do anything there. But what we're going to do is we're going to start with this sort of disorganized, chaotic behavior where he's not really focused on me at all, and we're going to move that into organization without ever really using a lot of pressure or any big corrections on the leash.
Or you're not doing any words yet because
No words.
there's no association?
Yeah, I just want him paying attention, and then I'll tell him what that's called.
Okay.
Right? So I'll create what I want, and then I'll give it a name.
Don't name it till you love it.
I think that's one of the things that we identify a word too soon to it, but the dog doesn't do it, then heel means, bark at other dogs. So it's not to be good.
Yeah.
So you'll notice I want the leash pretty much loose the whole time.
Right.
What I want him to start to learn, up to this point, the leash has been a control tool and a restraint tool.
Okay.
Okay? What I want him to learn is this leash is like my umbilical cord. Okay? I'm feeding him information. Anytime he feels tension on that prong collar, I want him to know that it's for a reason. It's never just random.
Okay.
It's always meaningful. It's my way of communicating with him and telling him what I need him to be doing. So the pressure on the collar is to motivate him.
Yep.
Okay? It's mildly annoying. The pressure on the collar is to motivate him. The release of the pressure is to educate him. Okay? It tells him when he's doing the right thing. So the moment he gives and turns with me, I want to say, great job. And I say that by relieving that pressure. That's the reinforcement. Also, I like to use my left-hand turns as an opportunity to work on social pressure and yielding. So I'll turn and use body language into the dog and get him to clear out of my space. That's another...
And you're doing that without leash pressure, you're just using
No
the
leash.
butt, yeah.
I'm strategic about it, so I'll do it at a time when he's already slightly behind me, so I don't have to pull him backwards first and like knee him in the ribs on accident, right? But so what we're starting to get already is from the beginning where he was just very, very chaotic, is a lot more organization to his movement. Really happy, prancy, tail up, turning with me, paying more attention. Is it going to be perfect 100%? No, of course not. I've barely really done anything. But there's no pressure, and he's already turning.
He keeps checking in with you too.
Checking in, you're going to start getting a lot of eye contact, right? You get this kind of stuff, right? So no treats, no real force, just information with the leash. And it's amazing what happens once the dog starts to see that you're giving useful information and you're doing it consistently and clearly, how much they start really focusing on you and actually asking for more.
Right.
Now, here's a couple key points here. Before I start adding the heel command in, one thing I want to make sure I start getting to happen is I can start and stop the dog pretty easily. And there's some keys to the stopping part to make it happen in a gentle way. So one key is I'm not going to pull straight back as I stop. Straight back along the spine loads the dog. They want to kick forward. Okay? And if I have too much momentum in the beginning, it's going to take a lot of force. So my leash work is going to be very gentle up to stop them. That'll also begin to motivate for the sit naturally. And I'm going to do it right after an about turn. So I've made a turn to break momentum, take one or two steps, and then come to a stop. And as I stop, give the information. Tell him with the leash, hey, we're stopping, good job. Right? So let me show you what it looks like. It may not be perfect the first time, and that's okay. We're gonna progressively get him clean.
So again, so the release of pressure is the reward at
That's
this
the
level.
reward.
Got it.
That's the reward.
Got it.
Yep. Yeah, that's the reward. Pressure motivates, release educates.
Excellent.
That's the easy way to put it. So right off the bat, now I can tell him heel right now before I start moving. And that's the way I do it. Anytime I'm going to start moving, I tell the dog heel. I don't tell him anything when I turn. I don't tell him anything when I stop. But before I start moving, that's my opportunities to condition the dog to what heel means. Heel means pay attention now. For the next duration of time, we're going to be moving in a way that you need to stay focused. All right? And there's a rule about it. So you're just not allowed to check out. Okay? And this is the subtle communication of the rule. This is me gently saying, hey, you know, don't do that, no big deal, but we need you to stay focused. Right? So, what's his name again?
Jack.
Jack, heel. We start walking. Now, I'm going to just get him in the mode again, because he had a little break there. So I'll do some turns. Again, look at how his attitude perks right up. With that clear reinforcement, that is a reinforcement. That is a reward when you release that pressure. He perks right up with it, right? Now, after I turn, a couple steps, very subtle on the leash, but it gives him the information, and we already start getting the sit, which we ultimately are going to want. I'm not telling him sit yet. And what did he do immediately? He looked at me. What's next? All right? And then, Jack, heel, pressure, release. He doesn't move with me, a little bit of pressure, release right away. The hardest pressure to do is when you're moving forward and the dog is lagging, and you want to use a little bit of leash pressure to speed him up. That's where you really have to be sensitive to the dog, because it's harder to feel when he's actually saying, okay, I'm going to go a little faster. Well, he's already moving forward. So that's where you really have to feel the dog with a lot of sensitivity. Heel. So now, heel. My first step, again, that's pressure and weight, right? I'm not going to force him. I don't want him to ever feel forced. My first step is to make sure he's just cool with this thing. Some dogs are nervous about it. Just see if I can have him walk over it. Not going to force him over it. Let him sniff it. Let him just check it out. And get him really comfortable with that. Not allowed to cross behind me. I just turn the other way. Okay. I want to see that pretty easily and comfortably he can move over this thing. Good. Then I want to see that pretty easily and comfortably I can stop him there. Again, same way I was stopped before. Very subtle upward pressure. Good. Heel. Moving forward. Now, to have clarity of command, to have him make sure he's paying attention to the sound that's coming out of my mouth and not just the fact that we're approaching the board. As I start to build in the place command, what I always make sure I do is I come to a stop in front of the board first. So there's no movement. I'm not walking towards it. I'll stop him there. He has to be relaxed. He can't be like saying, oh, we're going. And then, Jack, place, forward, and then just make sure he stops. And that's all I need for the very first step of place command. And then heel, pressure and release again. I'll do some repetition, kind of hit him there, before we start working on him staying there. And the stay comes really easy, really easy. Place. Backward pressure, release. So now, the stay. So I don't need to hold that pressure until his feet are back there. I need to hold it until he makes the decision to stop moving forward and start going back to what he was doing. Nope. Look for the decision, right there.
And when you do that correction, it's the same pressure,
Same.
no jerking.
No jerking yet. Eventually, once he knows the rules and he knows it clearly, then I can correct him for disobedience. Right now we don't have disobedience, we have lack of obedience.
So you're considering the light pressure not a correction, just more of just a...
It
Information.
depends how you define correction.
Right.
If you define correction as just like correcting a mistake,
Right.
then sure.
Okay.
I erase a mistake, I write in something new.
Right.
It's not a punishment,
Right,
it's information.
information.
It's telling him the part of the behavior that's wrong. Here's what's right, here's what's wrong. How can I expect him to not do what's wrong if he doesn't know what wrong is?
Right.
Right? So what he's learning is that when I feel pressure, it means one of two things. Either I need to be doing something differently, I need to kick into action, or I'm actually making a mistake. Now, that's already, even just that little bit of work we've done,
Yeah,
that's already a clear communication to him.
right,
Within 15 minutes of working this dog, he'll be able to stay on this place board for 10 to 15 minutes
Right.
with another dog around,
yes.
without ever giving a punishment or ever giving a treat. Just by creating and clearly defining a rule. Right? And there is reinforcement. And there is an aversive, so technically from scientific terms, it's a punishment, but it's not what we would think of as humans as punishment, right? And then if he's, you know, showing a little bit of progress, sitting down, being good, I can pet him, right? Good job, buddy. And then we can move. Again, I want to isolate the command, so I know he's paying attention, he's not just watching my movement. So if I just do this, I don't want him moving yet, right? I want it to be heel, then I move. So he gets to predict, is this movement one I'm supposed to follow, or is it not? He gets the command first, and gets to predict that. So now if I've worked him for a while, and he's done a good job, I can actually give him a real break. Jack, break. And then that's usually when I want to establish a little bit more rapport with the dog, get down to their level.
Nice.
I don't need to get in the face all the
No,
time.
you don't.
You know, but let him come over and just check me out, get to know me a little bit better.
Right.
You know, if he nudges my arm and wants me to pet him, I'll pet him a little bit. You know, he just let me get some free time and just kind of cool out.